What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of this week's Brick Built Mindset podcast. Again, thank you all so much for tuning in and subscribing. And if you're listening to this on any audio platform, I would greatly appreciate you leaving an honest review because it would truly mean the world to me. So today's message is more so a digital diary for me to unload what's on my chest. I was recently given some feedback, and amongst it all, the first thing I think a lot of us do when we hear criticism or when we hear feedback or notes from other people, the first thing we want to do is be defensive, right? The first thing we want to do is be like, that's not true. How could you? I don't see it that way. Like, that's a normal human trait, a normal human characteristic or act to feel. And that's exactly what I felt when I was receiving this feedback. And I'm, somebody who is, prideful about my self-awareness. I like to think of myself as constantly being in review, constantly doing inventory on myself, or constantly reflecting on all the feedback that I do receive. And amongst this conversation, a thought crossed my mind, and I tried my best to be present while also reflecting in that moment. Although I was extremely caught off guard, I was extremely defensive in that moment, I tried to reflect, and these thoughts that I'm about to say went through my head. If I talk too little, people will think I'm shy. If I talk too much, people will think that I'm being annoying. If I come in on a day and I'm not as happy or chipper, people would think that something's automatically wrong. If I come in on a day and I'm being overly friendly, people would think I want something. Now, the trend that I continue to, come back through and comb through as these thoughts were going through my head is that it's just that I can't control what the perception of other people think of me. And if you waste more time wondering what they think of you, or if what you're doing is offending them after the feedback, you'll never get that time back. And that's what I started to think in my head. Don't argue back. Don't even, answer back in any defensive tone. Take what they give you, digest it, do the self-reflection on your own time, and then you come to your own conclusion. Because the last thing you're going to do is allow other people's perception of you to determine your internal temperature. And if you're having trouble, receiving this feedback, and you are, curiously wondering if it's true, or if the news and the feedback that you're getting is causing you to scratch your head and ponder, this is when you bring in that close proximity friend, you bring in that close proximity loved one, and you reflect and you digest and you have a dialogue with that person, because they're going to give you an honest feedback, especially if you value their opinion. So my message to you all today is to stop allowing the perception of other people to determine your internal temperature.